Hello everyone, I'm Bill Holkham and today we're diving into the beauty of autumn with a simple yet stunning watercolor forest scene. This tutorial is perfect for beginners with little to no sketching required. I'll show you how to paint wet in wet for soft glowing backgrounds and dry brush techniques to bring out those crisp autumn details. You don't need fancy supplies, just a few brushes, some warm autumn colors, and a bit of creativity. So grab your paints, relax, and let's bring this forest to life. I start with laying some water down first of all across the top of the painting, coming down into top of the tree line, and then some Winsor blue, leaving a few white areas for clouds, and then Winsor yellow at the top of the tree line, fusing that in together, then add in the orange mixture, which is the Winsor Yellow and the Scarlet Lake. You can bring that down to what will be the base of the tree line for this avenue on the left and right hand side. Just come down to the bottom of the trunks where they meet the path. This is an underpainting, and you will see, as always, that it dries much lighter. Using a number 12 brush at the moment. You can mop up the edges with some clean tissue or a very dry brush. Tissue on this occasion. And as with all my tutorials, I keep the paper taped in one place. It doesn't have to be taped around all the edges because it's 300-pound rough. If it was 140 pounds, then I would have to tape it on all four sides. But I keep it like this for ease of the video instead of me constantly turning the paper round and then it's becoming difficult to see what's going on. So I've got now a brown mixture, blue and red. You can add some light red instead of the Scarlet Lake to quickly get a brown color. And I'm just using a number 6 brush, and I'm generally laying down trunks and branches to indicate where the tree line will be on the left side. I'll be doing the same on the right side later. And I'm purposefully leaving gaps here and there, and you'll notice of course that the further away we go, then the trunks get thinner and thinner and closer together. So that emphasizes the perspective. Then I have a grey sort of mixture where I can lay down a few more that are just a little bit further back, just to indicate those. But also later I'll probably be dropping in some grey mixture at the bottom of those trees anyway. Here we go, just to show a sort of misty effect at the base of the trees. And whilst I'm at this, I might as well continue to the right side as well. And then I'll drop in those trunks and branches later. Okay, that's all pretty good. It's shaping up. This is an easy painting for beginners, and it helps you learn techniques. It helps you learn wet and wet. Helps you learn about the underpainting that's necessary to build up depth for your painting. Then we got pure Winsor Yellow, number 12 brush still, and then here and there mixing that up with some of the orange mixture, the yellow and red. You could use a Scarlet Lake, you could add whatever colours you like. But at the moment we've got Scarlet Lake going on with the Winsor Yellow. And you'll see I'm purposefully leaving gaps here and there. It's not just one wash, the two colours. They're purposefully scattered around, leaving gaps. And at the top of the tree line, I'm making that as varied and interesting as possible. Not sharp lines, but broken. Dry that off with a hairdryer, then you can see I've laid down the various trunks and branches as I did on the left side. Once again broken. Then I've got a much stronger mixture of my orange. I need the mixture to be thicker as I progress through the painting. So when you do your underpainting, it's thinner and then it gets thicker. I've got number 6 brush this time, and I'm doing sort of side of the brush, scraping it on. I'm making the best use possible of the texture of the paper. This is a 300-pound rough arches. So got a nice tooth to the paper, and being very rough like that enables me to scrape on the paint when I'm using thicker paint, as I'm doing at the moment. So we're building up some nice autumn colours. It's very varied, nice and interesting, not too uniform. Each of those trees have got their own characteristics and bend this way, that way, etc. Purposefully, when I laid those down, I made them as varied as possible. So we're now definitely using the side brush scraping technique. We've got our brown mixture, and I'm scraping that on. And later on, when I dry this off with a hairdryer and use this technique with the thick, dark colour pigment, it will be even more effective. But I'm purposefully doing it at this stage to allow some fusing in of the paints, the yellow and the orange, with this brown mixture. You will also see me sharpen up the various trunks and branches later on, and I will purposefully be leaving various gaps here and there, so it's much more interesting and more realistic. Okay, that's fairly dry, but now I'll just add some more deep orange, building it up all the time on the left and the right side, still using a number 6 brush. Broken, varied and interesting. That's what you want to aim for. Certainly in this painting, and that generally applies. Right, now I'm at the stage where I'm darkening the various tree trunks and branches. So I've gone to my smallest brush. You can use something like a number 2, and got that nice dark mixture, and laying in those various branches and trunks, broken here and there where there's foliage in between. You can see now that there's beginning to be a nice contrast with the lights and the darks and the various colours. And that's coming much more to life. And break them up, make them as interested in as possible, different shapes to them, etc. Not too uniform. And once again, remember that the further we get into the distance, the closer those trees are together. I've done the same on the other side. Then I've got my mop brush and I've laid down clear water. Then I'll lay down some Winsor blue, starting at the bottom of the painting. And I want to leave a light area in the middle. So I'll leave that clear water in the middle. Then a darker mixture, once again starting from the bottom and coming in from the sides. I'm not bothering for this tuition to worry about lots of different shadows occurring on the path. That would get quite complex. It can be done, but it would be quite complex. For this tuition, we're teaching you some wet in wet and side brush scraping technique, things of that order, rather than complicated shadows at the moment. That can be done in other tuitions, other videos. So gone to my number 6, I got my brown leafy colour and scraping the brush, making the best use again of the texture of the paper. So fallen leaves here and there along the pathway leading down this avenue. And there'll be a few more in the foreground coming across. And if you do get a little bit too much at some stage, if you haven't mopped it with a tissue beforehand like there, then you can just dab it with your tissue to take off that excess before it dries too much. And then once it is dry, and then you can go over it. So always have that tissue to hand so that you can be in control. You always lose control if you have too much water on your brush, too much pigment, and you can't control it and runs away from you. We're getting towards the end of this painting. I think it will be a good lesson for you in learning transparent watercolor in the English style, where we have used the white of the paper for our whites. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this tutorial, give my other beginner videos a try by clicking this thumbnail.